If what you're doing for rehab is not working for you, if you're stuck, if you're in pain, and it's not getting better, it's probably because you're doing too much and too little at the exact same time. And what I mean by that is when I have a lifter who is stuck in pain for a long time that comes to me, most of the time they're still trying to force their training, they're still trying to get stuff done, they're still trying to work really hard in the gym, even though they're at a super high number on the pain scale. And the thing is like, we're not worried about picking this gap in the McGill sense that we think that we're making things worse, we're causing more damage. The reason why I don't want lifters to keep pushing into that pain and trying to push through it is because if we keep touching that pain, pain being an alarm that notifies us to potential threat, the more we kind of touch that potential threat, the more we make it feel worse, the worse things are going to feel. So if we can slow down on touching that pain threshold, if we can slow down on making things really hurt just for a little bit, we can make huge strides in terms of reducing sensitivity and letting us do more in the future. And for powerlifters, it's often so hard for them to think like, I have to train light this week. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to lose all my gains. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But the thing is like if you take a week or 2 weeks to not piss whatever it is that's hurting off, that means that you can get back to training in 2 weeks. That means that you can actually push hard again if you just take the time to calm things down. If you keep pissing things off, you might not be making it worse structurally, but it's going to feel worse and worse and worse the more you make it pissed off, and the more you increase sensitivity, and the more you then begin to anticipate pain, and the more you enter this cycle of just going to it, expecting it, making it feel terrible, and then it's just going to feel more and more terrible the more you do it and the more you don't lay off of it. So that covers the you're probably doing too much side of things. Now on the you're not doing enough side of things, those same lifters, say like it's a sore hip, if their hip is bothering the bottom of their squat, what they're doing for that hip outside of squatting, they're probably just like doing a band distraction drill right before they train and that's it. Or maybe at best they're doing some hip airplanes before they train too, but it's like, what is a band distraction drill? What is a hip airplane actually doing for your hip in order to prepare it for the demands of squatting? You're not doing anything to bridge that gap. You're not doing anything to actually challenge it in a meaningful way that will make it more prepared to handle more on a squat. So guys, if you are stuck in pain, not only is it that we need to make sure that we aren't pissing things off on the big stuff, on the little stuff that we're doing, we actually have to do enough little stuff, and we have to do hard enough little stuff to bridge the gap and close the gap back up to what we want to actually be able to do with our training. So in the case of hip pain, that might mean you need to start with something super, super regressed, like an airplane. But it's like, we can take that airplane, we can add load to it. We can take that airplane, we can turn it into a kickstand deadlift just to get the hinge component, and we can begin to load it and do more and do more and do more. We can train the other side of the hip and start training hip flexion and loading it, and then building tolerance through that route. And we can just keep increasing load and keep increasing load and keep asking that hip to do more and handle more. And as we ask that hip to do more and handle more, we can start with a really, really high frequency when loads are low, and then we can build up with those loads, we can reduce frequency, and then pretty soon we're actually going to be back to training. So it's like, if we take 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on how gnarly things are and how bad things have gotten, how bad things feel, if we take enough time to A, make sure that we're not pissing it off on the big stuff, and then B, scale and build the little stuff, we're going to be back to training way, way, way sooner than if we keep just ramming our heads into a wall trying to force things and trying to push through pain. Because it's like, with my stance on pain now, I am absolutely admitting that pain doesn't always mean bad. Pain doesn't mean damage. Pain doesn't mean danger. Pain doesn't mean that we actually need to stop. But the thing is, though, if we want pain to, or if we want to manage pain as quickly and efficiently as possible, we need to stop irritating whatever is causing that irritation. And that doesn't mean that we need to avoid all pain together, because yes, we will have to touch it a little bit in order to challenge ourselves to get back to what we want to do. But with touching it, we need to just ride that fine line of doing enough to kind of feel it, doing enough to challenge ourselves, but not doing so much that we are pissing things off and setting ourselves back in terms of sensitivity. So guys, if you are trying to rehab something and it's not working, ask yourself, am I doing too much on the big stuff? Am I doing too little on the little stuff? And Find out what you're missing, find out where you're going wrong, and then fix it. Easy peasy. So guys, remember, you need to feel it if you want to get it to be better, but you don't need to be pissing it off. Don't be afraid of training. Thank you so much for watching. Share this with your friends and like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz.